This is a story of a girl with a dream that was not just her own, but an entire community's, though she did not know that yet. Nicole learned to sew from her grandmother when she was 12 years old and took to it instantly. In 2007, she opened a business called Nicole's Threads, which made an eclectic line of women's clothing and other sewn accessories, but it was a side gig. She sold at craft shows, eventually opened an Etsy shop, and then things suddenly took off. Nicole's Threads was a full-time work for her. In 2008, her mom opened a handmade shop in Pennsylvania, and she helped get it going. This is when Nicole started to dream that someday, too, she would have a shop of her own to sell her wares plus other handmade goods. Though this dream would have to wait until she settled down in one place. In 2011, she moved to Vermont. She found herself surrounded by a community of talented artists in need of a space to sell their goods. It was then she started to turn her dream into a reality. She took a women's business class, formulated a low-risk plan, and started to look for a space for the store. It was right around the same time that Winooski started to take off, restaurants, bars, and shops popping up all around the circle, and a perfect space became available, and Birdfolk Collective was born. Birdfolk Collective is an eclectic store celebrating handmade independent designers. Think brick-and-mortar Etsy shop. When Birdfolk opened in May of 2015, it not only made Nicole's dream come true, but also a whole community of artists who were in need of a storefront.
I'm Jennifer Kahn, and I make jewelry, and Birdfolk carries my work, and they sell a lot of it, which is awesome. Nicole Carey is just amazing, and she set up this store a year ago, and I'm so impressed with how far they've come in a year. It's my favorite store to shop in. There's so much local and handmade goodness, and they just care about their artists and about the handmade movement and about community, and it's one of my favorite stores.
Birdfolk currently houses over 125 artists' goods, from clothing to jewelry to kids' clothing and accessories. Nicole didn't just create a place to sell, but also became a resource to many of the artists.
So I'm Tessa Value from Foliage Handbags, and I make a small line of handbags and accessories made out of natural materials and screen-printed fabrics. I work mostly from a small studio, and I used to actually work from my house, so having Nicole at Birdfolk and the store in general local to sell our products has been really helpful. I do some markets and online sales, but to just have some place where people can go on the weekends or in the afternoons when I'm not available and really check out a line of my products and really get to feel them and touch them and pick them up has been really nice. It's also just good to talk to Nicole and have somebody locally who's on the retail side to be able to pick her brain and see pricing and what people are drawn to, and she gets to kind of see what people like when they walk into the store, kind of without being the maker of the product, which is kind of a back seat view, I guess.
Nicole continues to dream and make others' dreams come true. Since opening Birdfolk, she has purchased a building with studio space, some of it which she rents out to other artists, but a portion that she'll be using for an education center.
We rented about half of the old appearances, and I took a couple rooms, and another couple artists took a room. And we do, when I opened Birdfolk, I really wanted to do like workshops and just like meetings for artists to like come like chat, like let's talk about how to get your stuff into stores, or let's talk about Etsy or photographing stuff for online, and not necessarily led by me, but it would be like another person could come and like give a workshop maybe like a couple times a month. So this just grew completely into a store, so I'm hoping that we could start to do stuff like that over there, but just learning from the past year, I'm afraid to set any kind of like timeline until it's actually happening.